watching.
Subscribe.
Hello Space Cowboys, my name is Luke Owen and you're watching ScreenStalker. Give this channel a subscribe, press the thumbs up and leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. What did you think of Godzilla King of the Monsters? Were you a fan? As the film's director Mike Dougherty is clearly a fan of the Big G's back catalogue, with this latest film in the franchise making a lot of references to films that have come before it for other fans to enjoy. So let's look at some of the Easter egg references and things you may have missed in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now this isn't an exhaustive list, so comment down below if you think we've missed anything. And do be wary, dear traveler, as we're about to spoil the heckins out of Godzilla King of the Monsters. So if you want to avoid spoilers, I suggest you make like a tree and get out of here. Don't worry, I'll wait. We'll start with the film's title itself. While the King of Monsters moniker has been synonymous with Godzilla and even used at the end of Gareth Edwards' 2014 movie, the title of this new entry refers to the original US recut of 1954's Ghidorah for Western audiences. Joseph E. Levine bought the rights from Toho to screen Ghidorah in the US, but shot new scenes with Raymond Burr as American reporter Steve Martin, who was essentially there to explain the plot, and mixed those scenes in with the original movie to make it look like he was there all along. Released in 1956, Ghidorah was renamed Godzilla King of the Monsters, a nickname that has stuck with him to this very day. Another name taken from the US releases of the Godzilla franchise comes from Monarch referring to Ghidorah originally as Monster Zero, which is a reference to the movie Invasion of Astro-Monster from 1965, where the Zillions from Planet X say a monster is destroying their planet called Monster Zero, which we later learn is actually Ghidorah. When the film was brought over to the US, it was renamed to Monster Zero, with TV and VHS releases of the film titling itself Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. One of the few characters to carry over from 2014's Godzilla movie is Ken Watanabe's Dr. Serizawa, a name familiar to Godzilla fans as the eye-patch-wearing mad scientist Dr. Serizawa from the original 1954 Ghidorah. Not only that, but you'll notice in the credits for the movie, because it's never said during the film itself, that Serizawa's first name is Ishiro, and the name Ishiro refers to the 1954 movie's director Ishiro Honda, who would go on to direct several more entries in the Showa series of films, including King Kong vs. Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, All Monsters Attack, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. Ishiro Honda is often thought to be one of the most important names in Godzilla lore and other Toho-produced kaiju movies, alongside composer Akira Ifukube, producer Tomoyuki Tanaka, and suit actor Haru Nakajima. Speaking of Serizawa and his gift to the Godzilla franchise, the Oxygen Destroyer makes an appearance in Godzilla King of the Monsters, created by the military to destroy all life within a certain mile radius. This device comes once again from that 1954 original movie and is how Godzilla is killed. Spoilers for the 1954 Godzilla movie. The original version is slightly different though. As the name would suggest, the Oxygen Destroyer destroys oxygen atoms, which makes creatures die of asphyxiation. In 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters, however, it just makes a big kablowie. At the end of 1954's Ghidorah, Dr. Serizawa uses the Oxygen Destroyer to kill Godzilla, and in doing so, he also sacrifices himself for the greater good. He does this to make sure that the government never creates another Oxygen Destroyer by taking the secrets of its creation to his grave. The 2019 Dr. Serizawa also makes a sacrifice, only this time it's to save Godzilla so he can rise again and take on Ghidorah in the film's final act. And this idea to use a nuclear warhead to revive Godzilla comes from the 1991 movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. In that film, the Japanese military are convinced by people from the future that they need to kill Godzilla in the past so he can't destroy Japan in the present. But it was all a ruse, as this trip to the past was only done so the Futurians can create King Ghidorah to rule over Japan in the present day without any Godzilla interference. In the present, Yasukai Shindo uses a nuclear sub to recreate Godzilla, which he does successfully, which is not too dissimilar to Monarch's plan to launch a nuclear warhead from a submarine in the 2019 movie to revive Godzilla after his battle with Ghidorah. And speaking of movies from the Heisei era that 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters makes reference to, the ending of the movie where Serizawa's plan means Godzilla is going to blow up like an overheating nuclear reactor comes directly from 1995's Godzilla vs. Destroyer, where Godzilla's heart is going into nuclear meltdown and it's going to explode unless they find a way to stop the explosion. Music in 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters also takes inspiration from the franchise's history. It had been announced that the film's composer Bear McCreary would take a lot of inspiration from Akira Ifukube's original 1954 score, which could be most heard in the main theme, as well as the track Rebirth, which comes after Godzilla comes back from the brink of death thanks to Dr. Serizawa's sacrifice. Not only that, but the film's credit features a cover of Blue Oyster Cult's classic 1977 track Godzilla. You know the one. The song has been covered by bands like Fu Manchu and Smashing Pumpkins, but this is the very first time it's actually been used in a Godzilla film, this time covered by Bear McCreary with Serj Tankian from System of a Down. Fun fact, when Blue Oyster Cult's original song wasn't used in the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie in 1998, they recorded a parody version of the song that was played on local radio stations. Speaking of those credits, and right before the post-credit scene begins, there are some nice tributes to two big names from the Godzilla franchise. The first is for Yoshimitsu Banno, famous for directing 1971's Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, a movie with a strong message about the evils of pollution. Ghidorah is a polarizing movie in the Godzilla franchise, with producer Tomoyuki Tanaka hating it so much that he claimed Banno ruined Godzilla and even banned him from ever directing a Godzilla film again, even though Banno was writing a sequel to Godzilla vs. Ghidorah and was creating another kaiju named Deathlar. Banno would spend several years following the death of Tanaka trying to fund a 3D version of Godzilla vs. Deathlar, and would end up working on the 2014 Gareth Edwards Godzilla movie in a producing role. The second tribute is for Haruo Nakajima, who played Godzilla in the '54 original and would continue to play the character until 1973's Godzilla vs. Megalon, becoming the most recognizable name to put on the Godzilla suit. Both men sadly passed away in 2017, and Godzilla King of the Monsters is dedicated to their memory. During the movie, Dr. Serizawa and Monarch reveal that 17 Titans have been discovered and counting. Godzilla King of the Monsters features 4 of those in main roles: Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah, and we also know that Kong is considered a Titan from Kong Skull Island. We also get to see a couple of other Titans in the movie though, one of which is a return of the Muto seen in the 2014 movie, a mammoth human-type creature, and 2 Titans that could be references to other kaijus from the Godzilla franchise. The first is this spider-like Titan that could be a reference to Kamanga, who featured in movies like Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, and Godzilla Final Wars, or it could even be an evolved version of the spider creature from Kong Skull Island. And the other is this enormous creature that rises from the earth, which looks a bit like classic Godzilla foe Anguirus, the first kaiju Godzilla ever faced in his second film, Godzilla Raids Again. And one of those Titans featured in the movie is our only female of the group, Mothra. During the film, each Titan is given a codename, with Mothra's being Titan Mothra, which is her Japanese name and what her first film was called in 1961, which was also directed by Ishiro Honda, with Tomoyuki Tanaka producing and starring Haruo Nakajima. And while this is a fun little tidbit, even more fun is that Mothra is discovered at a Monarch site in China codenamed Outpost 61, which was the year of Mothra's release in Japanese theaters. Not only that, but Rodan was found at Outpost 56, which was the year his movie Rodan was released, directed by, you guessed it, Ishiro Honda, with Tanaka producing and Nakajima starring. The other outpost that's made reference to is one in Antarctica, where Ghidorah is frozen in ice. This is Outpost 32, which could be a reference to Outpost 31 from John Carpenter's classic movie The Thing, which also takes place in Antarctica and features an alien being found in ice. And if you double 32, you get 64. And 1964 was the release of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, the debut for Ghidorah, and a film that also features Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan. That one might be a bit of a stretch, but I kinda like it. More interestingly, there's a subtle reference to Mothra's origins and one of the most common aspects of her character, the Shobijin, otherwise known as the Mothra Fairies. These identical twins call out to Mothra through song and prayer, and have even shown the ability to speak with Mothra and humans using telepathy. In 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters, Monarch scientist Eileen Chen reveals that she herself has a twin, and she's 3rd-generation female twin in her family, with the previous generations also spending their lives dedicated to the studying of Mothra, setting her up as this film's version of the Shobijin. And Eileen Chen is set to return in Godzilla vs. Kong next year, which is interesting because during the final credits, there is a newspaper clipping that says another egg has been found, setting up the return of Mothra for that film. Speaking of eggs, and those are the Easter eggs we spotted on our first watch. But what did you see and what do you think we missed? Let us know in the comments down below. And be sure to check out other awesome ScreenStalker content by clicking the videos over that away. Subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. I've been Luke Owen. See you, Space Cowboys.